Welcome back to Objective 5 in Chapter 4 of our 3B1 series. In this objective, we'll explain the purpose and describe the locations of reheaters, and also explain the position and flow through reheaters in relation to superheaters. So, referring back to my basic steam generating unit schematic, we're now picking up the location, generically, of the reheater. So we can see here then that our reheater is downstream of the superheater. So in this example, look at how the reheater is connected into the steam turbine, and also note the temperature in relation to the superheater. So if we follow the steam path through, from the steam drum, the saturation temperature in this particular application is 320 degrees C. From here, our saturated steam will enter into our superheater. Here, more sensible heat will be added to our steam, and it will be raised in temperature up to around 538 degrees C. From here, this steam will now exit the boiler and enter the high pressure stage of our steam turbine. Now, as the steam expands through the steam turbine, its temperature and pressure will reduce and its volume will increase. We now extract the steam out of the end of the high pressure stage of our turbine and bring it back into the boiler through a device known as a reheater, where the reheater is going to do exactly that. It will reheat the steam back up to the same temperature as our superheater, which is 538 degrees C in this example. Please be aware, however, that even though the temperature will go back up to 538 degrees C, the temperature will not be the same as what it was in the superheater. Now from here, as our steam enters back into the beginning of the intermediate pressure stage of the turbine, it is now going to expand through the remaining stages of the turbine. That is, the intermediate pressure stage and the low pressure stage of the turbine. By doing this, we avoid getting condensation in the low pressure stage of our steam turbine by reheating it, and also putting more enthalpy back into the steam so we can extract more useful work energy out of our steam turbine that'll probably be driving an alternator producing electricity. Okay, so that overview from our schematic is the majority of what we need to talk about here for reheaters. Now, in terms of construction, a reheater looks the same as a superheater. So, i.e., we can have platen reheaters. We could have pendant reheaters. We could have, for example, horizontal reheaters. It's the same idea with regards to superheater. There is, of course, a constructional difference between the two, and that is to do with the pressure. So because the superheater operates at a much higher pressure than the reheater, the wall thickness in the superheater tube will be much thicker than what it is in the reheater tube. So apart from the wall thickness and the utilization of where it is in the boiler, there really is very little difference, constructionally speaking, between reheaters and superheaters. Now, the idea of that last slide that we just looked at, we can get a better sense of looking at this diagram, figure 17, in your textbook. And here we can clearly see the three individual stages of our turbine. That is, the high pressure, intermediate pressure, and low pressure stages of our turbine. And now if we follow those steam paths from the steam generator, you can see where the steam enters and exits the turbine in relation to the superheater and the reheater. So just to recap, looking at this particular diagram, steam leaves the superheater in the boiler, passes into the inlet stage of the high pressure turbine. It now expands through that high pressure stage, where the pressure will reduce, the temperature will reduce, and the volume will increase. It's now going to exit the end of the high pressure stage of the turbine, come back to the boiler, and it will now go through the reheater. And you can see in this particular diagram that we have here a two-stage reheater that's both in the convective and the radiant section. The right-hand side being protected there by the nose wall. The boiler will now reheat the steam temperature back up to 538 degrees C, and it now goes back into the beginning of the intermediate pressure stage of our turbine. From here, it will expand through the intermediate pressure and the low pressure stages, where once again, the pressure and the temperature will reduce and the volume will increase. we're now going to extract as much useful work energy out of our enthalpy as possible in our turbine to achieve the highest efficiency that we can. At the end of the low pressure section, again, this is sort of looking at a condensing turbine arrangement. We're now going to exhaust at a pressure below atmospheric down into the condenser, where our low pressure exhaust steam will now be cooled down via cooling water, no doubt, and then we'll have our condensate captured in the condenser and the hot well. From here, that will simply then return back to the boiler through our feed water treatments as our makeup water, as well as things like our low pressure and high pressure feed water heaters upstream and downstream of our feed water pump. You'll get into that sort of loop of the system when you do your 3B2. Okay, so there's a few questions then that we need to summarize up with and also take a look at the characteristic of the reheater regarding its steam temperature. So first of all, why would we bother to reheat the steam? Well, the answer is the same as why we would bother to superheat the steam. That is, we want to get as much enthalpy as we can out of the steam, which means we want to put it up to the highest pressure and temperature that we can. Now we can get more work out the turbine and greater efficiencies. We can also improve the efficiency of the thermal cycle, and we can also reduce, i.e. almost eliminate, any condensation being developed in the low pressure stages of our steam turbine. Remember, steam turbines are designed to handle up to 14% wetness, but it's far better to have none. Next, located in high temperature sections. Well, of course it's going to have to be, because we've got to get back up to 538 degrees C. So as we saw in the last couple of objectives, it's very common to see reheaters as platen reheaters that straddle both the convective and the radiant sections. Now, because they're in both sections, they typically tend to have fairly constant steam temperature characteristics, the same as a combination superheater that we looked at a couple of objectives ago. Now, in terms of controlling the reheat steam temperature, your textbook says it can be done in the same way as the superheaters. That's true, but in practice, reheat steam temperature is achieved by tilting the burners inside the boiler. Now, we'll get to tilting burners in another chapter when we discuss different types of burners. But by tilting the burners up, neutral or down, we can control our reheat steam temperatures to again achieve 538 degrees C. Now, the last thing that we need to mention is what effects would soot blowers have? And this is going to be soot blowing of the reheater itself and also soot blowing of the radiant section. Now, there are two effects to be noticed from doing each of these soot blows. The first one is that if we soot blow the radiant water walls, then we're going to reduce our reheat steam temperature. Now, why is that? If we blow off, i.e. soot blow, the radiant walls, then we're going to absorb more heat in the radiant section. That now means there's less heat to go through to the convective section, so therefore your reheater is going to absorb less heat, and therefore our temperature is going to decrease. Second, soot blowing of the reheater increases the reheat temperature. So if our reheater has got some ash on it and we now blow it off, well, it's now going to be free to absorb more heat because that layer of ash or soot, that takes the form of like an insulating blanket, thereby reducing our heat transfer capability. Now, there's a point to note with regarding the radiant wall soot blowing, and I'm almost hearing a few of you think this with your internal cogs ticking over. And the thought would go something like this. You said earlier that when we increase the firing rate of our boiler, then the radiant superheater temperature would go down, i.e. a falling steam temperature characteristic. So why doesn't that happen here in number 1 when we soot blow the radiant walls? Good question. The answer is, where in that statement for number 1 did it say I was increasing the firing rate? It didn't. So that's what we're assuming. So basically, as the boiler is going to be operating at a constant firing rate, depending upon what the load demand upon the boiler is, if we now blow off the radiant walls, more heat can now be absorbed through the radiant walls, which means there's less heat for the reheater, so the temperature will go down. So try not to conflate those two temperature characteristics between falling temperature characteristics for the radiant superheater and soot blowing the radiant walls for a reheater. You got to be careful with that. Okay then, so let's summarise up Objective 5 and take a look at some review questions of the types of things that you could be asked for this objective. So first, in a large steam generator, the reheater is located where? Is it before the radiant superheater, in the furnace area of relatively low gas temperature, in the furnace area of relatively high gas temperature, or is it going to be located after the economizer? Well, hopefully you know the answer to this one. It's got to be C, in the furnace area of relatively high gas temperature. Why? Because we need 538 degrees C, typically for the examples that we're looking for, and also because it tends to be a platen style reheater that's going to straddle both the convective and radiant sections to give our steady steam temperature characteristic. Next one. A reason for reheating the steam to near the original superheat temperature is to what? Is it to prevent excessive condensation of the steam in the low pressure stages of the turbine? Is it to increase the cycle efficiency to some extent by decreasing the proportion of available energy per kilogram of steam? Is it to increase condensation of the steam in the high pressure stages of the turbine? Or is it to increase condensation of the steam in the low pressure stages of the turbine? Hopefully this one's fairly obvious and you're thinking that it's got to be A. That is to prevent condensation in the back end of the turbine. Now, if you were thinking part B, or answer B was the answer, then read it a little bit more carefully. The first half of that answer starts off looking promising where it says increase cycle efficiency, because it does. But then the answer goes on to say by decreasing the proportion of available energy per kilogram of steam. Reheaters don't do that. Reheaters increase the proportion of available energy per kilogram of steam, not decrease. So you've got to be careful reading the full answer to make sure you're picking the right one. Classic answer here to catch those students that are answering these questions too quickly and not reading the answers carefully. No reason to throw away easy marks in an exam because you're rushing. Okay, next one. In a large steam generator, the reheater steam temperature may be controlled using a what? A convection type reheater, a temperator, a radiant type reheater, or a combination economizer and reheater. Well, your textbook said that we can control the temperature in the same way as a superheater. So, how do we control superheat steam temperatures? And the answer was within a temperator or a desuperheater. So the answer to this is going to be B. Now, I also told you in this objective that this is true, but in reality, you will find reheat steam temperatures are controlled on these large steam generators by tilting burners. Next one. In a large steam generator, blowing soot from the furnace wall tubes will what? Will it increase the reheat temperature, decrease the reheat pressure, increase the reheat pressure, or decrease the reheat temperature? Little tricky one, this one. If we're blowing soot from the radiant wall, which is where these furnace wall tubes are, then more heat will be absorbed in the radiant section, which means there'll be less heat for the reheater, so the temperature of the reheater will go down. So the answer is D. Classic question, this one, and can be quite tricky if you don't understand that relationship. The next question is just the opposite version of that one. So, in a large steam generator, blowing soot from the reheater will what? Same options. Well, if we blow soot off the reheater, then we're removing that insulating blanket from the reheater, which means the reheater will be able to absorb more heat. And if it absorbs more heat, then the temperature will go up. So the answer is A, increase the reheat temperature. Okay, so that's it for Objective 5, talking about reheaters. So, have a bit of a review of this. There's a couple of little tricky concepts in there, but the majority of it is a review of what we spoke about back at 4th class, determining what a reheater is, where it is, and what it does. So once you're ready, come back and see me for Objective 6 and we'll get in and start to talk about some economizers. So, see you back soon.